Hi, my name is Ruhaan. I'm a master's student at Concord and a member of the Bangladesh community and the Muslim community. And I've come here today to address a couple of issues that I've noticed since my family and I moved from Ottawa, Canada, last June. And moving here has given me, it's opened a new world of ignorance and lack of knowledge that I've seen over the last 10 months. And I've come up here to discuss them. So the first one being it's a lack of respect for religious holidays. So some of you may know that in the last 2 weeks, the month of Ramadan, the religious month of Ramadan, ended. For those of you who don't know, it's a month of empathy. It's a month of it's a month of empathy. We fast from sunrise to sunset for 29 to 30 days to gain a feel for what it's like for those who don't have the access to what we do in America. So at the end of the month of Ramadan, there's a day called Eid al-Fitr, which is the day of celebration. All the Muslims, they come together, they wish each other a happy Eid. It's like our Christmas, except for the fact that we don't have time off. Like obviously Christmas here in North America and Europe, it's a massive occasion. We have like a week off, we get to go see family, so on and so forth. But here, not so much for Eid because of the mainly lack of people, lack of Muslims who actively follow the religion. But in Canada, where I used to live, we had the schools and the workplaces. They were understanding. They accepted us. They accepted our traditions, and they gave us the time off on the day of Eid to go meet family members to celebrate. For us students, we didn't have to go to school. They made sure that there was nothing important that we had to do. It was just like fun activities from what the other students had told me. So that's one of the things that I'd like to see improved in Concord, just respect for religious holidays. Another thing that I noticed is unconscious bias. So ever since, there's always been a bit of like, whenever people, mostly in the United States, whenever they hear the word Muslim, the first thing they always, there's a little bit of edge that comes into they seem to be a little bit more on edge, I guess, because of the fact that the word Muslim and the religion of Islam have been associated with terrorism and bombings in the last couple of decades. And this could not be further from the truth. Islam is a religion of peace. It's a religion of understanding, of empathy, and Islam itself, the word, it means peace. So that's just another thing, because in school, during the month of Ramadan, I had a specific dress that I used to wear, like for the occasion, and while I was going to go for prayer at school, I heard students behind me going, "Oh, Allahu Akbar, boom, boom, boom." So I obviously didn't say anything. I didn't want to turn around and confront them. I just took it in and I kept it to myself. And that the prayer brings me to my third point. It's a safe place for us to prepare for prayer and pray. So before Muslims, before we go to pray, we have to do a little bit of a cleaning ceremony. It's called wudu. It's where you just wash the basic parts of your body, your hands, your face, your feet. But most of us were not really comfortable taking our feet out in a public washroom. So me and a couple of my friends, we had to resort to finding staff bathrooms. And on the occasion that the staff bathrooms weren't available, we'd have to go to public student washrooms. And I've had people tell me, get your act together, what the hell are you doing? Why are you taking your feet out? This is a bathroom. We kept it to ourselves, we didn't say anything to them because quite frankly, it wasn't worth my time to explain to them what we were doing. But I really would like to see a safe place for us Muslims to be able to go and prepare for prayer safely without being confronted for what we're doing. And lastly, it's for the prayer spaces. So back where I used to live in Canada, we were given the entire gymnasium to pray. There were like a lot of people, 200 people. We'd fill up the entire gym just with people that came to pray. But here, seeing as there's like a lack of Muslims, we're a very small community here. We usually have to find like a conference room in one of the offices at the school. We'd find like exit halls, entry halls in the basement. But usually we'd find like a closed room that we'd have to ourselves just for the time of prayer. And on the occasion that those rooms weren't available, like I said, we'd have to go to like the exit entry halls. Those halls had doors with big glass windows on them, and students would watch us while we're praying. And this would eventually lead to students that were not Muslim. They would go in those rooms during class time, stand there and say they were praying, because they saw us doing the same thing, except they didn't know what we were doing, didn't know what to say, what prostration, like you'd have to go into prostration. They would just stand there and say that they were praying. We were told this by one of the teachers at Concord High, and I appreciate her for that. So we ended up not going there anymore. So now we only have a couple of offices that we have to use, and sometimes those aren't even available. And we have to make up our prayers at home because we only have a specific amount of time to do the prayer. So another thing that I'd like to see in Concord is a safe place for not just Muslims, but for anybody who needs to pray. Have a safe space for them to do their prayer without being judged or without having people talk behind their backs. Thank you.
A lot of what you talk about is your experience in the school system.
Yes.
Fortunately, there are two school board members here who I'm sure are very attentively listening to what you say. Do you feel that the same types of accommodations need to be made for employees within the city government? Because we can't control what happens in private workplaces, but that's really a state issue and a federal issue. But we have control over, for example, city workspaces. So would you say that you would look for the same kind of accommodations in that regard?
I would, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.